What if you had your EV here in New York and you could charge it right here? In my last video, I shared with you a significant problem with owning an EV here in New York right now.
You got an electric car that doesn't use gas?
But I'm not here just to highlight city problems. Let's talk about 4 practical solutions that can make EV ownership more accessible and put New York ahead of the curve. Before we dive in, please like and subscribe, and if you have any future video ideas, please leave them in the comments below. Let's first start out with an honorable mention. A shout out to mobile charging. It's not a full solution, but it's a very clever business idea. Imagine your car is dead or extremely low on battery.
What the hell's going on?
We're out of juice.
Well, switch to gas!
There's no gas! It's an electric car!
Instead of calling for a tow truck, which can cost $100 to $200, you can just call for a mobile charger to come top you off. Sounds pretty convenient, right? There is a company in New York City that's offering the service right now, but until New York gets its EV infrastructure up to speed, this might be a viable business idea to consider. Now let's get to the top 4 solutions and their pros and cons. Starting with number 4 on our list, we have pop-up chargers. These chargers, like the Mark V UE1 by Urban Fox, rise from the ground when needed and disappear when not. They're great for saving sidewalk space.
Wicked.
And theoretically, you can place them anywhere. However, mechanical complexity means they're prone to breaking, and nobody wants a charger stuck on the ground. Next up in our number 3 spot, curbside charging, but not the ordinary curbside charging you see here. Companies like VoltPost, a New York City-based startup, has the idea of using streetlights as the charging station. This idea leverages existing infrastructure, letting drivers park and plug in. VoltPost also claims that this charger can be installed in about an hour, reducing installation costs and setup time. I am a fan of this idea, but not as a standalone option. The number of streetlights per block in Brooklyn varies on many factors, like block length. If there was an average of 4 to 6 lights per block, and if there are 2 charger ports per light pole, is this EV only parking? Or can anyone park in this spot, consequently blocking someone from charging their EV?
Hey, asshole, you can't park here. This is my parking place. I live right up there.
Even though there will be a ban on all new gas car sales by 2035, it doesn't mean that all gas cars will just disappear. And installing more streetlights, well, that's not practical. So that leads us to number 2, wireless inductive charging. Picture this. You park your car as usual, and instead of having to plug in, the car will wirelessly charge for you from the street. Now that's pretty cool. Companies like Whitetricity, Electrion, and Brooklyn-based Hevo are already working on this game-changing technology. This is my personal favorite solution. It's clean, clutter-free, and relatively easy to install. And if you line each side of the street with these charging pads, then it will allow for parking flexibility. No restrictions on who can park where.
Hey! Hey! You're stealing my space!
But here's the catch. Most EVs don't support wireless charging. Yet. So until manufacturers adopt this technology, it's a future-forward solution we'll have to wait for. But New York should not sleep on this idea. So this leaves us with our number 1 pick, curbside charging. Again, but in a different way. This comes from yet another New York-based startup. I swear I did not pick these companies just because they were based in New York, but this one, called It's Electric, will actually hook their curbside charger off of a property owner's electric meter. Hear me out. All of these charging options require some level of construction or assembly. The retractable and wireless chargers, however, could take months to get approved by Con Ed, not including the construction time and connecting to the utility main. The street lamp charger is super simple in its setup and already has a connection, but since all of these charging options are the same level 2 charging speeds, which is 72 kilowatts per hour, that means property owners can have a line run out to the curb, and EV owners can charge off of an existing meter, simplifying construction, permits, costs. You get the idea. And property owners won't notice a change in their electric bill because It's Electric will pay the utility directly for the power used by EVs, tracked by submeters. And It's Electric will share the revenue generated from the charging fees as a thank you for letting the property owners use their electric meter.
62 cents!
I take the money!
So here are your top 4 charging options. And you might be thinking, 72 kilowatts per hour, that sounds like a level 2 charger. That's very slow. And you're right.
Honey!
What?
Where's my
Supercharger.
But you don't need to supercharge your car all the time just to get around town. It's also not great for your battery long term. So having your EV passively charged while you're not driving will reduce the number of massive supercharging stations required, which is a challenge to find space for anyway. But combined with those larger charging hubs, stations incorporated into our infrastructure could make EV charging in New York seamless and scalable. Because let's face it, nobody wants an extension cord running out of their bathroom window to charge their EV. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below what solution you think is best. But even with a better EV charging infrastructure, there's still one big problem: parking.